Hi students, I am Sanjay Mishra, present here with my first video on class 11 mathematics, and it will be related with sets. You have just passed or preparing for your class 10 examinations, and after that the class of 11 will start. The difference between the nature of mathematics in these two classes is that the mathematics of class 11 is little bit logical. It is less calculation based. So the first chapter, that is set theory, is a logical branch of mathematics in which you have to learn a number of terms, and this will be used in further studies of functions and relation, probability, etc. And whole calculus depends on function, and function ultimately depends on set theory. So we have to discuss this chapter, this subject very thoroughly, and all my videos will be of around 20 minutes, 20 to 22 minutes, and you have to watch it till end, and then you can go for the questions of your exercise. Now I am beginning with the definition of the most required term, that is set. What is the meaning of a set? Set. So first I write the definition, then I will explain what is the meaning of this definition. A well-defined collection of objects is called a set. So simply we have to follow what is the meaning of well-defined, and objects are anything that we see around us. Now well-defined means the collection of the objects should not vary from person to person. That is the meaning of well-defined. Suppose I say that collection of natural numbers. Collection of natural numbers. So everybody will write these numbers because there is no any confusion about the objects. But if I say it is collection of good students, if somebody is told to write the members of this collection, then the elements or the students belonging to this collection will vary from person to person, because there is no universal definition of goodness. Okay, so somebody may say that good means who are good in academics, some may say that good means those who are good in playing cricket, like that. So person to person this collection is going to vary. So we cannot say such collections as set. Okay, so set means the elements of the set are universal. If anybody writes the elements, the collection should be the same, so that is called set. Now the second point, how should we represent a set? A set is represented by capital letters of English alphabet. For example, A, B, M, R, etc. The elements of the set, are written within curly bracket separated by commas. So if I go with the previous example in which I written there one set, the set of natural numbers. So first we have to choose the name of the set. Suppose I take n as the name of the set, then the elements will be written in this way. So they are the elements. Since the number is not limited, okay, so that's why we write few elements and then we put dots. So what we find here, that elements are separated by comma. And one more thing you should observe here, that repetition of elements in a set is not allowed. A very important point. Let me discuss it with one example. Suppose we have to write a set. We have to write a set containing all the letters of the word school. So first we have to choose the name. Suppose I give the name as A, then we have to write the letters S, C, H. I'm separating them by comma. Then we get repetition here, O, so we have to write only single O, then L. So this is the set. Okay, no repetition of element is here. Okay, so that you have to take care. A set may be represented in two ways. So representation of set There are two methods. One is called roster method, also called as tabular method, and second one is set builder method or form. In this method, what we do, we write all the elements one by one separated by comma, taking care of the repetition. Repetition is not allowed. And what we do here, this is based on one concept, that every set has a property. So instead of writing the elements, we write the property of the set and represent it by X. So that is called set builder form, in which we write property, not the elements. Every set has a property. So I will discuss with one example. Now, set of natural numbers, if it is written in tabular form, we have seen that it should be written like this one. Now, if I want to write, this is in the roster form, and if I want to write the same set in that form, so what we have to do? First, We have to write here X. X represents the property of the set. Then we assign the property under this name X, where X is a natural number. This is read as such that colon. So n is a set which contains natural numbers. So when you expand it, you are going to get this, and from here we can get this. So the property of set is written under the name X. This is called set builder form. There are a few standard symbols used in set theory. So I am just writing them one by one. First one is this, which is epsilon. This stands for belongs to. And if we cross epsilon, then this is does not belong to. Similarly, I have just seen that this symbol stands for such that, using set builder form. Then it looks like reverse E. This is written for there exists, and this one for every. So they are the standard symbols we will be getting throughout the chapter. Okay, so this is you have to remember. Then there are some standard names for lot of sets. N is reserved for set of natural numbers. Z, sometimes I also, capital I, they stands for set of integers. Q stands for set of rational numbers. Then R, this is R, written a little bit dark because when we go for relation, so relation is also represented by R, and this R stands for set of real numbers. Set of real numbers. So in order to differentiate the symbol standing for relation and the symbol standing for set of real numbers, this R is written little bit dark. Okay, so this stands for set of real numbers, dark R. Now after that, we sometimes use these symbols also. This stands for set of positive integers. This is set of negative integers, and star is sometimes used for set of non-negative integers. So non-negative does not mean it is positive, because here 0 is not included, but in this set 0 is also included. So there are some standard symbols that you will be getting in our next discussion. Okay. Now we are going to discuss types of sets. First one is empty set. Very important term, empty set. The definition is a set having no element is called a null set or empty set. Empty set. Empty set, void set, null set, all stands for same thing. So any set with no element is called empty set. No element does not mean that that collection is not a set. Suppose I say a collection of all people having age more than 400 years. So this collection is not possible, but it is well defined. We can ask anybody that what is your age, and based on this definition, you can see that whether that person belongs to our collection or not. So since it contains no element, this is called null set. This collection is called null set. And since null set does not have any member, so the symbol is used like this, curly bracket, we write nothing. So this is null set, and it is represented by 5. Is Latin letter 5. So 5 stands for null set. Null sets are represented this and this by these terms, and also sometimes by this, but the standard symbol for its representation is 5. Next, singleton set. They are the definitions of your book, NCERT book. Next definition is singleton set. A set having only one element is called singleton set. For example, set of numbers of numbers satisfying, set of numbers satisfying the equation x plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, so when we solve it, we get only one value, and in terms of set it will be written like this, and we can give any name, suppose B or S. S stands for solution. S is equal to minus 1 written in curly bracket. Since it contains only one element, so it is called singleton set. Next, finite and infinite sets. Finite and infinite sets. A set having finite number of elements is called a finite set, and the set which is not finite is called infinite sets. Okay, now one example. If we go for writing the elements of the solution of this equation, then you get this one as plus minus 1. So if we write these members in terms of set, so it has only 2 members, so this is called finite set, because it has fixed number of elements, finite set. And if we go for again example of natural number, so there is no end of natural number, so this is infinite sets. Next comes the definition of cardinal number of a set. This is again a very standard symbol notation that we have to use further. Now, if A has 4 numbers, these numbers are the members of A, then cardinal number of set A means the number of elements present in the set, which is 4. And if I increase, suppose this is by E, then this becomes 5, because if you count 1, 2, 3, 4 and this is the 5th one, so the number of elements in set is 5. This is called cardinal number of the set, and it is represented by NA. If B has the elements 1 minus 1 AB, DF, so NB is 6. Okay, this is called cardinal number of a set. Equivalent sets. Equivalent sets, 2 sets, 2 or more. Equivalent sets, 2 sets A and B are said to be equivalent sets if NA is equal to NB. One example, if I take 2 sets P and Q, the elements here are A, B, C, D, and here it is alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Number of elements in P is 4, number of elements in Q is also 4. So P and Q are equivalent sets. Okay, next comes equal sets. Equal sets, 2 sets, 2 or more, we can say 2 or more sets are said to be equal when they have the same elements. Same elements. Example, A and B, 2 sets are taken. If it is suppose alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and here we write beta, gamma, delta, alpha. So both sets are equal. The elements of a set may be written in any order. There is no any restriction on writing the elements. We can do by any order. So what we find when we compare the elements beta, beta, gamma, gamma, delta, delta, alpha, alpha, all the elements are same. So A and B are equal sets. Now those sets which are equal, they are also equivalent. For equal sets, number of elements is also equal. So all equal sets are equivalent sets, but all equivalent sets are not equal sets. That you have to remember. Okay. Well, students, this is the end of my video number 1 on set theory. Now you can go for the exercises of your book. These concepts will help you to do there, and then I will come with my next video on set theory again. Thank you very much for watching.